Duterte na biglang lumabas last minute na tumakbo. And the whole nation parang sabi na, oh, good. We have one dark horse na pwede natin suportahan. And to be very frank with you, Doc Lorraine, ang 2016 national election was a revolt of the middle class. That was the revenge and the revolt of the middle class through voting. Kaya nakita mo, si President Duterte nanalo with a big majority, with a big margin as against to Leni Robredo, as against to the Mar Rojas, hindi si Leni, si Mar Rojas, pero yellow pa rin yan eh. So, makikita mo, pero one thing that we have to remember, kahit nung nangangampanya pa lang si PRRD, malinaw ang stand niya. When you talk about foreign policy, I'll be neutral. I will not make an enemy out of China. I will try to, try to have good relation. But of course, my good relation pa rin with the United States. I will have a neutral and independent foreign policy na ginawa naman niya. At hindi siya kayang hawakan sa leeg ng mga Amerikano. Kaya the Americans were very angry with Duterte. And look, where is our former president right now? Nasa ICC. Do you really think it's only Marcos Jr.? Of course not. Meron din hand dyan, hindi ko sinasabi under Trump, but the Americans in many ways. So ngayon, ang tanong sa 2028, do you really think the Americans would like another Duterte in power? That is a big question. As far as I'm concerned, Doc Lorraine, I don't think so. Philippines, sinasabi nila na mayroon tayong soberenya dyan. Actually, no. At ang sinasabi nila, yung arbitral ruling daw ay nag-rule na kumbaga, we have like sovereignty over that area, which is wrong. Because if you really look at the ON clause, ang ON clause is not the international law or instrument that actually settles or may capacity siya na magsettle ng tinatawag mong territorial o sovereignty dispute. Hindi yan. Ano lang siya, maritime rights, adjudication, at saka kung anong entitlements ng mga countries. That is the basic function of UNCLOS, the United Nations Law of the Sea.
Shocking kasi during PRRD's time, the only time that could speak, and he gave those orders very specific, very clear. Nobody else can talk about this but me. I'm the only one that can speak. So I'm very shocked that an underling like basically nobody, the totem pole of power, Jay Tariela, is being authorized. No, he's being, I don't know, authorized, but he's being allowed. No, he's like a loose cannon, talking about such sensitive issues. And then recently nga, Prof, na may lumabas na video where he is lecturing, giving a lecture. That's so scary. Giving a lecture to kids, no, about his ignorance and his hatred about China. And in the background, you can see that he has demonized a very powerful man of a very powerful country, President Xi Jinping. May I have your thoughts on this? And then wait, and then could you also segue into how a senators now of the land have responded in kind, no? Because China came out with a very wonderful, very, very strong rebuke of Jay Tariela's what he did, no? So could you please enlighten us kung gaano kalaki itong diplomatic faux pas na ito?
Oo, actually, napaka-serious na usapin ito, Doc Lorraine. Kasi in the very first place, this talks about international relation, diplomacy, and foreign policy. Ito yung problema ng administration ni Bongbong Marcos. Kasi when you talk about speaking on sensitive and international issue, even local issues, dapat malinaw sa kanya kung sino ang talagang magsasalita on specific issue, especially when you talk about foreign policy. Ang alam ko dyan, kasi when you talk about foreign policy, international relation ng Pilipinas with the rest of the world, dapat ang DFA yan, the Department of Foreign Affairs. Ang Department of Foreign Affairs naman, mayroon naman silang tinatawag na spokesperson o may secretary. Or pwede rin naman kasi ang press officer, pero sa lagay ni Auntie Claire, siguro ang DFA na lang when you talk about foreign affairs matters. Yeah.
So that's another, no? I mean, terrible, no? So, okay, go ahead.
Kaya ako, kung ang pag-uusapan natin is foreign affairs matter, siguro, ang dapat mangyari, ang DFA. But the problem with Marcos Jr.'s government really, objectively speaking, is ang daming nagsasalita on behalf of the president and on behalf of his government, which is topsy-turvy. Hindi mo makikita yan sa mga matitinong bansa na may matitinong gobyerno. That's already one indication na may problema ang Marcos government. And that's even foreign policy pa lang ang pinag-uusapan natin. Marami pang issue. Itong issue ni Tarela, siguro ngayon ang nakikita lang natin is the Chinese embassy is very kumbaga hindi na sila kasi ang tipo na magpapa oh, parang hindi na nila gusto maging punching bag kasi sa Pilipinas talaga ang China card ay ginagamit ng mga politicians, even the likes of Tarela. And this is more about their personal interest because these people they don't represent the Philippines and they don't represent the entire Philippine nation. Yun yung problema. So, yung ginawa ni Tarela is a diplomatic issue. Take note, it's a head of state, a top leader of a powerful and a superpower country. It's not even about being powerful. It's just about basic decency and respect. Yun. At saka ang nakakainis dyan at nakakabahala kasi nga, sabi mo nga, Doc Lorraine, na dangerous kanina. Kasi ang ginawa niya, alam mo, hindi lang sa DLSU yan. Kasi marami akong kaibigan sa mga university na nagsasabi sa akin na si Gibo at itong Tarela, umiikot yan sila sa mga universities, mga top universities ng bansa at kumbaga, nag-explain sila ng issue sa South China Sea. Sa akin kasi, to be very frank with you, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to explain to the public, even to the university student, kung ano ang issue ng South China Sea. But if you are in a university, the basic decency, kapag pumapasok kayo ng university at magsasalita ka in front of student, is to be kumbaga, make the discussion academic, yung diskurso academic. So meaning you present, you don't do this kind of things na dinidemonize mo at dinidepict mo ang top leader ng isang bansa in a caricature na hindi siya okay. At magre-react talaga ang bansa nila because it's the top leader. Disrespectful yan sa kanila. So ang pinaka-dangerous dito is you're poisoning the minds of the young Filipinos, students, na you hate a country and you hate a person. Hindi naman ganun ang dapat ang education natin, 'di ba? Ang education dapat is you present the issue, you present two sides of the story and let the student have their critical minds work na, okay, ano ba talaga?
I have a question. So, we already know the narrative of Jay Tariela, right? So, could you briefly tell us what that narrative is in contradistinction to the truth?
Okay, ang narrative kasi ni Tarela is ganito na ang sinasabi niya na yung part ng disputed area ng South China Sea at tiniterm nilang WPS, which basically is not recognized internationally. The West Philippines is not recognized, but of course it's being recognized in the Philippines. Is sinasabi nila na mayroon tayong soberenya dyan. Actually no, at ang sinasabi nila yung arbitral ruling daw ay nag-rule kumbaga, we have sovereignty over that area, which is wrong. Because if you really look at the UNCLOS, ang UNCLOS is not the international law or instrument that actually settles or may capacity siya na mag-settle ng tinatawag mong territorial or sovereignty dispute. Hindi yan. Ano lang siya, maritime rights, adjudication, at saka kung anong entitlements ng mga countries. That is the basic function of UNCLOS, the United Nations Law of the Sea. Now, ang propa kasi ni Tarela is para i-adjit ang mga Pilipino is may sovereignty tayo over that area. No, we don't. We have sovereign rights. That's really the truth. But China is contending, ang kanilang claim is territorial. Sa atin kasi maritime entitlements based on UNCLOS. So doon nagkakaroon ng malaking problema sa kumbaga sa narrative na gustong i-present ni Tarela and the likes of Tarela, which is intellectual dishonesty if you really put it that way. Ganito, ang problema kasi ganito, when you talk about yung narrative na pinipresent ni Tarela and the likes of him is may baggage of intellectual dishonesty. Kasi ang sinasabi nila na we have sovereignty over that area, disputed area in the South China Sea, which they term as West Philippine Sea, when in fact, the West Philippine Sea term is not even recognized internationally. Hanapin mo sa United Nations.
In fact, Prof, no, when Bongbong Marcos went to the US and spoke to Trump, di ba, he had a very brief audience with him. He didn't even use the term West Philippine Sea. Right? They did that. They used South China Sea.
Ang sabi niya, South
Yeah.
Mm.
So in other
Precisely
words,
because yun ang
yung West
recognize
Philip
na term.
in other words, yung West Philippine Sea na yan, ginagamit pang agitate ng Pilipino.
Ang Oo, ang ginagamit niya yan to kumbaga ng mga officials of government at saka kasi gusto nilang masolidify ang legitimize yung claim ng Philippines dyan sa West Philippine Sea. But that is a domestic term. Yeah, ako
Yes.
sa akin, to be very honest, and Doc Lorraine, I don't have any problem if you use it in the Philippines because that's coined by the Philippine government. Okay, fine. But
Yeah.
present it in a way that is hindi
Intelligent.
ka nagkakaroon na intelligence na
Yeah.
may intelligence at the same time na hindi nagkakaroon ng tinatawag na intellectual dishonesty. Kasi ang nangyayari sa mga tulad ni na Risa Ontiveros, Tarela, even Gibo, and even some members of AFP na nadi-distort nila yung actually yung ibig sabihin at ano yung laman ng 2016 arbiter ruling at kung ano ang totoo dyan sa issue dyan sa South
Question.
China Sea, which is
Question,
not
Prof.
good.
Yeah, question, Prof, no? By this time, we already know the truth, di ba? We already know the facts about this, no? So, and yet, Tariela persists, and then ito si Larissa Ontiveros, no? Um, I'm pretty sure they also know, di ba? So, paano yung totoong, why do they persist? What is the real reason behind all of it? And who or what is behind this narrative that's being forced down the throat of Filipinos? Kasi for me, no, ang nakikita, ang alam ko, fact, no, is that the CPP, NPA, NDF are also riding on this issue to agitate the people kasi mahilig sila mag-agitate, 'di ba? Yan yung paraan para makarecruit sila, kailangan galitin nila and then they stoke the patriotism na pseudo, 'di ba? Pero nanggagaling sa kasinungalingan, 'di ba? So Prof,
Tama ka.
could you please enlighten us, no, kung saan ito nanggagaling?
Oo. Alam naman natin yung facts about that. Just to
Yeah.
reiterate quickly, that
Yeah.
we don't have sovereignty over the disputed area na tinatawag nilang quote-unquote West Philippines. We have sovereign rights based on UNCLOS. Ang issue ng China is territorial.
What's the difference between sovereignty and sovereign rights?
Pag sinabi mong sovereign rights, in that particular area, mayroon kang exclusive rights, kaya nga exclusive economic zone, to exploit the resources below, not above. Kasi above the sea, it's international waters. So ibig sabihin, lahat ng country pwedeng mag-pass through dyan. Kaya even China can pass through our exclusive economic zone. Below that, you have the exclusive rights to utilize the marine resources. That's it. But even then, in UNCLOS and even in the arbiter ruling, in consultation with the coastal state, ibig sabihin, yung claimant states ng South China Sea, which include Vietnam and Malaysia. On the other hand, when you talk about sovereignty, ibig sabihin, pag-aari mo yan. Hindi yan pwedeng galawin ng sinumang bansa. Kasi sa'yo yan. Pero ang problema, based on UNCLOS, 12 nautical miles from the shore is your territorial waters. Outside of it is international waters already. So that is the intellectual dishonesty. At saka, ang arbiter ruler, walang ruling when you talk about these matters na territorial kasi hindi nga niya competency ng UNCLOS that. So ngayon, ano ang reason bakit ginagamit ni Narisa, Tarela, and the likes of them na itong issue na to? Tama ka naman, Doc Lorraine. It's all about tinatawag mong jingoism. Tinatry nilang i-agitate ang Pilipino using the card of so-called false nationalism para masabi lang at ma-project nila ang kanilang mga sarili na they are patriots, they're nationalists. For what purposes? Of course, to gain popularity, media mileage, and in preparation, lalo na ngayon, in preparation for 2028. Kasi 2026 na, Doc Lorraine. Ito na yung time ng preparation ng mga ambisyoso na gustong tumakbo ng presidential, vice presidential senators. And take note, one of my friend told me, a very close friend of mine, who actually are very much related to the Tariela whatever, family ba o relatives na yan, na Tarela, itong si Ilong Ranger natin, tatakbong senador sa 2028 daw. Diyos ko, sabi ko, the Philippines is doomed if that's the case. Really, to be frank with you, tatakbo siya daw. Yun ang sabi ng friend ko. Sabi ko, oh really? Kaya pala may ganito siyang mga forma-forma at the expense of our foreign relations or at the expense of our international and regional standing. So yun yung totoo doon. So they're using it for their own benefit, politically speaking. Ang tanong, bakit din? Kasi may tinatawag kang audition politics sa Pilipinas. Nag-audition sila kay Uncle Sam kung sino ang pwedeng suportahan ni Uncle Sam pagdating ng 2028. Kasi alam naman natin na ang Philippine politics, whether we like it or not, whether we accept it or not, talagang ang Amerika is part and parcel of it. May influence talaga ang Amerika kung sino ang magiging presidente at kung sino din ang sinusuportahan nila when you talk about national position and even local position. So right now, nag-audition itong mga to, ang dami nila kay Uncle Sam. So kaya ang hyping of the issue against China, yung anti-China card ay ginagamit ng mga yan. Very obvious naman. And look at their alignment. So Tarela naman on the other hand, talagang ano yan, ang boss niya na hindi ata Pilipinas Amerikano ata kasi ang mga linya niya ay linya yan ni Ray Powell, yung tinatawag nating CIA propagandist na may blog or mayroon siyang website na C-Light.
Yeah.
If you really analyze the narrative of Ray Powell, which is a CIA, is very much aligned with yung mga pinagsasabi ni Tarela and even Gibo, to be very frank. So this is really the whole picture and this is the truth. And I really hope the Filipino people will have a little of extension of their imagination and their, understanding and critical thinking na makita nila ito. Kasi this is very crucial, Doc Lorraine. When you talk about 2028, my God, the whole 6 years, the whole 4 years, at magsi 6 years ata si Marcos Jr. sa office, anong nangyari sa Pilipinas? Ang tanong ko, do you really want these people to still be in power and to be elected in position by 2028? My God, parang ayoko na umuwi sa Pilipinas if that's the case.
Yes, that's true. Prof, kasi you said that si Uncle Sam, US, gets to call who the president is going to be, di ba?
Hindi lang nangyari nung panahon ni Duterte.
Okay, I wanted to go to that. That was really my question. Bakit hindi natuloy? Bakit hindi sila na dyan?
Sa panahon ni Duterte ng 2016, ang kandidato talaga nila marami. Lenny was one. I'll be very, very straightforward about this. Lenny was supported by the pro-Americans or Americans for that matter during the 2016. Pero ang problema kasi ng 2016 para sa mga yellow, kasi malakas ang liberal nung time na yon Kasi Pinoy yan Ang problema, during Pinoy's time, maraming problema. Corruption, mamasapano, zero diplomatic relation with China because of the Scarpino Zone. Oo, di ba? Ang dami. Nagkumpul-kumpul lahat. So pagdating ng 2016 election, national election, may kandidato sila si Lenny, ang liberal, pero mayroong kang dark horse, and that was President Duterte, na biglang lumabas last minute na tumakbo. And the whole nation, parang sabi na, oh, good. We have one dark horse na pwede nating suportahan. And to be very frank with you, Doc Lorraine, ang 2016 national election was a revolt of the middle class. That was the revenge and the revolt of the middle class through voting. Kaya nakita mo, si President Duterte nanalo with a big majority, with a big margin as against to Leni Robredo, as against to the Mar Rojas. Hindi si Leni, si Mar Rojas, pero yellow pa rin yan So, makikita mo, pero one thing that we have to remember, kahit nung nangangampanya pa lang si PRRD, malinaw ang stand niya. When you talk about foreign policy, I'll be neutral. I will not make an enemy out of China. I will try to, have good relation. But of course, my good relation pa rin with the United States. I will have a neutral and independent foreign policy na ginawa naman niya. At hindi siya kayang hawakan sa liig ng mga Amerikano. Kaya the Americans were very angry with Duterte. And look, where is our former president right now? Nasa ICC. Do you really think it's only Marcos Jr.? Of course not. Meron din hand dyan, hindi ko sinasabi under Trump, but the Americans in many ways. So ngayon, ang tanong sa 2028, do you really think the Americans would like another Duterte in power? That is a big question. As far as I'm concerned, Doc Lorraine, I don't think so. Pero, ang tanong, sino ang mga susuportahan ng Amerika? And that is where these crazy politicians are auditioning kung sino ang magiging kandidato ng Amerika ni Uncle Sam sa Pilipinas sa 2028. Kaya sila, ang political grandstanding nila sa statement lang ng Chinese embassy sa katarantaduhan na ginawa ni Tarela, sobrang pinalaki na nila na the likes of Kiko, the likes of Hontiveros, Laila de Lima, joke na pabida-bida na wala namang alam when you talk about diplomacy.
So in other words, they're auditioning, "Hey, Uncle Sam, look at me. I'm the bigger American lapdog than ano. I'm the best American lapdog here. I'm the most obedient, 'di ba?" So it's funny because these are people who supposedly no claimed in their past lives that they're patriotic, chuchuchu, 'di ba?
Anti-American.
Anti-American, yeah. So but prof, no. Um I like what you pointed out kasi history will always talaga tell us, no? Parang nakita mo, America supposed to be very powerful, 'di ba? Regime changer sila, 'di ba? The US military industrial complex, no, the CIA. And yet, it's the Filipino people that gets to call it, 'di ba? Pag tayo ay nagkakaisa, like we did with PRRD, no? Pag overwhelming na hindi nila madaya, na mahirapan silang dayaan. Yan si George Garcia na kaya naman nandiyan din siya, 'di ba? Para talagang madaya yung elections, 'di ba? So, in other words, Prof, am I correct when I say that the power really comes from the people? And yeah, America is there, but only up to a certain extent. If the people get their acts together and stand united behind a candidate, no, Inday Sara is the most ano now, no, ang masusunod ang taong bayan. Am I correct?
Ay, oo, Doc Lorraine. Ako naniniwala pa rin ako sa kapangyarihan ng mga tao, kumbaga ng Filipinos as a whole, no. Hindi ko sinasabing lahat kasi mayroon ka ring mga Pilipino na alam mo yon yung kanilang affiliation politically kay na BBM at kay na Risa at saka yung ibang
Wait.
political factions. So, generally speaking, when you talk about the strength of the Filipino people or as a people, yes, I believe in that. Na at the end of the day, ang magde-decide para sa bansa natin, sa Pilipinas, kung anong mangyayari at anong magiging destiny natin, ay hindi ang Amerika, kundi ang Filipino. But we need to be united. At saka kailangan maintindihan ng mga Pilipino na ang mundo ay nagbago na. It's not anymore the United States who is like the dominant hegemon power in the world. There's no such thing anymore. It's a multipolar world na you have different powers. China is one of this superpower. You have Russia, you have Brazil, you have South Africa, the BRICS country. So it's not anymore a dominance of the United States. So ibig sabihin, may pag-asa ang Pilipinas makawala sa control at pagiging semi-colonial ng Pilipinas kung gugustuhin ng mga Pilipino. At paano natin gagawin yon? We need to elect people in government, politicians na may independent way of thinking, na hindi kailanman papahawak sa liig or mag-audition kay Uncle Sam para lang manalo sa eleksyon or para lang magkaroon ng pondo. Kailangan natin yon at umpisahan natin yan sa 2028. Yun yung panawagan ko sa ating mga kababayan mga Pilipino. At ang mga Duterte, Doc Lorraine, ay sa tingin ko ay hindi kayang hawakan ng sino mang bansa.
Yeah. At saka yung kagandahan nun, Prof, no, nadaanan na natin, na-experience natin kay PRRD, yung tunay na foreign independent policy. Napakaganda, talagang kaibigan natin lahat. No, hindi lang Amerikang kaibigan, hindi lang tayo atsoy ng Amerika. Ang nangyari talaga totoong progreso at kapayapaan, 'di ba? So, yan ang regalo ni Digong sa atin, no? Hindi na sayang yung ginawa niya. So yung I want to go back
ni Bongbong Marcos.
Yeah, sinira ni Bongbong Marcos. Oo, so ngayon na at least na-experience natin kasi kagandahan dito, nadadaanan natin ngayon yung paano yung may pangulo na soberenya talaga ang Pilipinas at paano pagkapaka-atsoy ng Amerika ang presidente na that Bongbong Marcos has pushed us towards war, 'di ba? At saka even our economy is really it's a wreck. No, so but the good thing is what you said, no, Professor, that the they're auditioning for the US, and so now it's very clear in plain sight, no, that who are these people who are auditioning to be the next hampas lupa of America, right?
Yes.
Am I correct? Very
That's
clear.
correct.
So sinasabi nila sa atin mga kababayan, sumisip-sip ako sa Amerika kapag nagbibida-bida ako, no? Nagbibida-bida ako na anti-China ako, chuchuchu. Kasi gusto kong ako yung maging tuta ng Amerika. So pag yan ang binoto natin, si Ontiveros, pag binoto natin yan, uulit ang impyerno na dinaanan natin kay Marcos. Prof, am I correct?
Worst. It will be worst.
Well,
It will be
okay,
worse, Doc Lorraine. I'm not kidding.
because why?
Oo. Kasi ganito, ibig sabihin, hindi na tayo makakaahon. We will forever be, kumbaga, atsoy ng Amerika or talagang kolonya ng Amerika. But even the problem is like this. Under Trump administration, to be frank, hindi trip ni, feeling ko nga, ang basa ko kay Trump, hindi niya gusto si BBM eh. Kasi alam mo, kanina nga't kinikwento ko sa'yo, I was in a meeting with some Malaysians. At saka sa meeting na yun, napag-usapan ng geopolitics. And actually, one of the Americans, si Gregory Polling, was actually telling the Malaysian that he was actually asking Trump, nung papunta si Trump sa ASEAN Summit, sa Kuala Lumpur, then magkakaroon siya ng Asia tour na ilang Southeast Asian countries and then Japan and then back to APEC. Kaya doon sila nag-meeting ni President Xi, di ba? Tinatry nilang i-convince na mag-drop by sa Pilipinas just to show of force na, the Philippines is an ally of the United States. Kaya Trump is dropping by. Wala. Trump, parang walang narinig si Trump. Hindi niya kinonsider yung suggestions, kaya yung mga pro-Amer, mga CIA diyan at saka mga tulad ni Gregory Polling galit na galit kay Trump because of this. Kasi feeling ko Trump even doesn't care about BBM. It's just that there are other political, actors and the political actors in the United States that of course still push dyan sa alliance natin with them because they're using the Philippines to whatever strategic interest na mayroon sila sa Indo-Pacific. But if you really look, Doc Lorraine, dun sa bagong national strategy na nilabas ni Trump, even Taiwan is not anymore an issue for the United States. The United States wants to have a very good relation with China. At ang sinabi nila, magko-concentrate kami na kontrolin at quote-unquote, i-dominate nila ang Western Hemisphere. But they will not anymore that much interfere or magpo-focus sa Indo-Pacific region or the Asia-Pacific where China is the leading superpower. So you see, nagbabago ang landscape. Ang tanong ko sa mga Pilipino, gusto niyo pa rin ba na maging always nasa kamay ni Uncle Sam ang Pilipinas, or may mga politicians ka that's serving the interest of the United States and not the interest of the Philippines? Do you really want that? Of course not. Kaya kailangan ng mga Pilipino matuto kayo. Ang pinaka-importanting critical na stage ng Philippine politics at para makita natin kung makakaalpas tayo dito sa nangyayari under BBM government is 2028 talaga. Kung matutuloy ang eleksyon, that's even the case, Doc Lorraine. Ang pinangangamba ko kung magkakaroon ng national election kasi sa dami ng ino-orchestrate nila for BBM and the rest of the Marcoses and the camp to stay in power beyond 2028 is another question. Kaya nga ako sabi ko, maybe there will be a 2028 national election, maybe not. It really depends on 2026 to 2028. At saka, tingnan mo naman ang demolition job that they're doing against Sara Duterte. Lahat ng kaso pinail na against Sara. And there is this sinasabi-sabi na mayroon second impeachment na ihahain against Sara Duterte, which I'm not sure kung magkakaroon ng numero yan sa House of Representatives. Pero that's a possibility. So you can see the landscape. Pero ang tanong kasi lagi dyan sa mga Pilipino, ano ang gusto nyo para sa bayan mo? Anong gusto natin para sa Pilipinas? To be under the hands of the United States or not? To be an independent state truly or not? And to have a progressive country? And also to have good leaders in government. Yun yung mga tanong eh. Because at the end of the day, it's us, the Filipino people, that will define the destiny of our country. Hindi yan nasa kamay ng mga politicians. So as early as now, dapat naiintindihan natin. And one thing that you have to remember, nagbago na ang mundo, ang landscape. It's not anymore the dominance of the United States. The United States is a declining superpower. Marami ng contending powers and China is one of them. And we need to have a very good relation with China kasi at the end of the day, we cannot deny the fact that China is our largest trading partner, combined export and import. And aside from that, investment, infrastructure, and marami-rami pang iba. So dapat, kailangan natin ng presidente na hindi hawak sa liig ni Uncle Sam or ng sino pa mang bansa. Basta kailangan natin ang isang presidente na independent mag-isip at alam niya kung anong gusto niya para sa bayan by 2028.
yeah, that story of of subjugation of the Philippines has grown
Mm.
old. Has grown old,
Mm.
no? Talagang buong buhay natin, kasaysayan natin halos, no? Nakaganyan tayo, nakagapi tayo sa dayuhan, no? So at this point, hindi na, lalo pa,
Oo.
naranasan na natin yung paano kay PRRD na yung truly a
Oo.
foreign, an independent foreign
In the foreign
policy.
policy.
But Prof, I want to go back to to yung ginawa ni Tariela, no?
Mm.
It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing.
Embarrassing. Embarrassing.
And then no less embarrassing, ito yung mga nag-audition kay Uncle Sam, no? Si
Mm.
Risa Ontiveros and Kiko Pangilinan followed suit, and then Tulfo
And then
followed suit, but they're all saying the same thing. Now they're
the same
saying
thing.
that
Yeah.
um, um, it is, you are a guest. You are a guest of
Oh.
this country, and it is impolite, that sort of thing, that kind of
That kind of
oversimplistic and
narrative.
even But could you explain to us, is the Chinese
Mm.
embassy a guest? Is that the
Yeah.
could you yeah could you
Actually,
explain
no.
to us,
That
no?
is a wrong. Doc Lorraine, that's wrong. They are not
Yeah.
guests. They are missions in the Philippines. And
Mm.
they are here because of the Vienna Convention. Mayroon silang
Mm.
protection under Vienna Convention precisely because they are missions here. They are like an extension. Yung mga diplomats na yan, yung Chinese embassy, extension yan ng Chinese government sa Pilipinas. Kasi
In
we
other
have
words,
official
Prof,
diplomatic. Hindi
in
sila
other words,
guest.
in other words, Prof, parang si Tariela, itong si Larissa Ontiveros, etc., Tulfo, whatever, Kiko Pangilinan, they're oversimplifying and oversimplifying and talagang false analogy, no? Parang they're also just showing their ignorance, no? Na yung
Ignorance talaga.
paghalintulad nila. Kasi in other words, the Chinese embassy and all the other embassies in this country do not exist out of the goodness of the hearts of the Filipino people.
No,
But because of that Vienna, merong batas,
Vienna
may
Convention,
international
no,
law.
Vienna-
Could you please
Like,
expound?
international.
Could you please
Yeah,
expound?
under Vienna, kasi, di ba, may diplomatic ties ka. And then we are part of the Vienna Convention on itong related sa diplomas, when you talk about foreign embassies in the country. That is there. It's solid and it is binding. Okay? It's trying to tell the government of that embassy na, okay, ikat natin ang diplomatic ties natin dalawa, ng Pilipinas at saka let us say ng China. That's the meaning of it. And do you really think it's a good thing? Do you really think it's diplomatic? Do you really think this is all about diplomacy and foreign policy? Of course not. Yun eh. Kaya nga sinasabi ko, asan ba ang utak ng mga to? Nasa talampakan nila? They're setting senators and they don't even use. Why? They're using this issue for propaganda or for political grandstanding. For what? For them to earn mileage and what? Popularity in public? For what? At the expense of our regional and international standing and at the expense of our foreign relation with China. Bakit? Kung magkaroon ba ng cutting of diplomatic ties, economic, political, investment, whatever, totally with China, kaya bang sagutin ni Risa Hontiveros, ni Kiko Pangilinan, and the likes of them, kung anong mangyayari sa Pilipinas? At kaya ba nilang saluhin ang mga OFWs? 'Di ba?
Yeah.
Kasi ganun yun eh. Yun ang problema ng mga to. Alam mo, nakakainis kasi kabubuhan na to eh.
Yeah,
I'm not kidding eh. This is stupidity. And I'm expecting them to have a little bit of, exercising their brain a little bit because para naman hindi nakahiya-hiya sa buong mundo na we have lawmakers na ganito mag-isip dahil lang sa kanilang gustong projection na they are strong, they're patriot, and my God, that's false
auditioning
patriotism or national.
Because they're auditioning.
Diba? Nakakahiya. I'm not kidding. Nakakahiya.
Yeah. I'm so embarrassed by it talaga. Sobrang nakakahiya. It's so cringy, di ba? Kasi nga yung sinasabi mo, no, that they're not guests. It's their missions, di ba?
No, they're not missions. Magkaiba yun.
And they exist because of an international law. I'm thinking, looking at Risa Ontiveros, who always needs to have an index card, no? Doesn't seem to have an opinion of her.
Yeah.
Diba? And Tulfo, or this Tulfo person, and,
oh my God,
and Kiko Pangilinan, etc. I really think they don't know. I really think they are talagang mababa ang kalidad ng pag-iisip that they would make something as serious like this, no, as this, look like a teleserye. Lumayas kayo. Di ba? It's teleserye eh. Talaga, at saka they
Oo,
dumb down the discourse, no? Binobobo nila ang Pilipino na it's a matter
yan
of,
ang,
yeah. Like what Tariela did with our students, di ba? Dinadumb down ang
oh, yun yung
diskurso.
hindi ko matanggap eh.
Yeah. You were saying kasi, what did you
Alam mo,
say?
yun ang
Parang,
hindi ko matanggap. Pero, Lorraine, to be very frank, yun ang kainis, doon ako
yeah,
naiirita.
yeah.
Ginagawa niyong bobo kaming mga Pilipino. Hindi
And
kami bobo. Mas matalino
and
pa nila eh.
And Professor, no, Professor Ana, sinabi mo kasi na intellectual dishonesty yung ginagawa nila Gibo na pinapaikot si Tariela with
Oo,
their
totoo naman.
misinformation, 'di ba? I think it's way more than that. It's not just intellectual dishonesty, it's deception outright, no? And it's and the goal,
Deception.
the agenda to that is really sinister, no? It's really sinister to divide a nation, 'di ba? And to isolate us from the world, 'di ba? And to keep us under the grip of America, 'di ba? Which has gotten already old. We're already witnessing the collapse of the American empire in our lifetime, right? And still we're here. It's no longer, the world has already moved forward. It has already changed, no? Hindi na siya
Yeah, but the
hegemony. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
the likes of Gibo, Ontiveros are still not moving on. Naiwan na sila eh. Pero ang pinaka naiinis pa ako sa aside from the fact na it's a deception, this intellectual dishonesty, is the fact
Yeah.
that you're teaching our
Yeah.
kids,
Yeah.
our young minds to
Yeah.
hate people. At the end of the day, the Chinese are still human beings. You don't teach children or you don't teach kids to hate another human being. That's not what education is all about.
Yes,
Education
correct.
is about
Correct.
trying to be, have that sense of humanity, understanding the issue deeply, the conflict, if there's a conflict, and trying to provide some kind of tools for our students to have critical minds, not indoctrinate them to hate certain people or certain country, because that is not education as far as I'm concerned. So
Yeah,
why in
and
the hell these people doing this?
And also, no, we're raising our children not just to be Filipinos, but to be global citizens.
Yes.
That's what we're working
Precisely.
towards, no? Unity, no? Harmony between nations, no? So,
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
And
but
yun ang tanong nila sa akin. It's a no-no. Sabi nga nila sa akin, marami kaming problema din sa sarili naming politika, pero kahit kami in opposition with one leader, we will never think na isusurrender namin siya, ikukulong namin siya sa ibang bansa under an external body na wala namang kinalaman sa amin at walang dapat jurisdiction sa amin. Yun ang pinakamalaking pagkakamali. Sabi sa akin ng isang high-ranking official ng Cambodia, ng current president nyo. Sabi niya. Sabi ko, at narinig ko rin yan sa ibang counterparts from Malaysia, Indonesia, and even here, So sabi ko, hindi, alangan na naman, sabi ko, oo nga sabi ko, kahit nga ako Pilipino, hindi ko pa rin ngayon ma-imagine at hindi ko pa rin malunok na nangyari yun. Sa history ng bansa namin, that was the first time. Sabi
Na
ko,
talaga siya?
until now, ang hirap niyang tanggapin. Alam mo yon?
talagang binaboy ni Bongbong Marcos ang Pilipinas, no? Talagang binaboy niya yung pag-surrender niya sa The Hague kay PRRD. Binaboy niya ang Pilipinas talaga. No, so ngayon, and these are very serious issues that are being leveled against him. That's why that impeachment was right? That impeachment so
the third impeachment, yeah.
The third impeachment, no? So I'd like to know what your opinion is about the way the SecGen, the office of the SecGen refused to accept, no? And of course, it's Chaloy Garafil, tao ni Marcos yan. And of course, the government has already, Bongbong Marcos has made it very clear that he feels that he owns the government and the entire government machinery is being used to protect and cover up for the most guilty, Bongbong Marcos. No? So, could you please explain to us the implications ng ginawa ng Office of the SecGen?
Sa akin kasi, ano tawag nito, glaringly, it's a violation of the Constitution. Kasi procedurally,
Yeah.
ang ano naman kasi, ang hindi ko talaga maintindihan is ganito. Parang ginawa tayong bobo ng mga to eh. Naiirita talaga ako. The House of Representatives, whoever man, kung sino nag-orchestrate nito, and even Garfield bilang SecGen. SecGen kasi siya ng House eh. Ah, ang nakakairita, ano bang tingin nyo sa amin talaga? Bobo ba talaga ang tingin nyo sa Pilipino? Kasi imagine that, second and third impeachment, especially the third impeachment, kasi solid ang ebidensya dyan eh.
Mm.
You can interview Mike, Defensor Cathy, and the rest. They are really have a solid evidence at saka dun sa articles of impeachment nila, which is around 11. And one of them is yung rendition kay PRRD sa The Hague. So yan. Una, ang tanong, bakit hindi tinanggap? Dahil daw nasa Taiwan ang SecGen at may award ceremony na pupuntahan. Ang tanong ko, bakit? Kapag ba nandun ang SecGen sa hindi na magpa-function ang Office of the Secretary General, that's crazy. Kasi parang ang analogy diyan ganito. Si Bongbong Marcos pumunta sa ibang bansa para magkaroon ng state visit. Do you really think the whole Philippines will shut down because the president is out? That's not how things work. May OIC ka, may staff ka. And the very thing is, procedural lang yung pagpa-file. Magpa-file ka procedural, tatanggapin, may tatak yan, may copy sila, may copy ka na natanggap. That's it. And even trying to see kung may merit yung impeachment o wala, it's not even the case at the very instance. Kasi ang ano lang doon, ang pinag-uusapan na doon, magpa-file ka, tatanggapin, pero ang hindi tinanggap kasi wala ang Secretary General. Bakit? Nagta-travel ba ang Office of the Secretary General din? That's really, really, ang nakakainis dito, constitutionally, it's a violation of our Constitution. Ano na yan violation din of the right of Filipinos, especially yung mga complainant, to be heard, to be accepted yung kanilang complaints. On the other hand, ang pinaka nakakainis dito is ginagawang bobo ang mga Pilipino na sinasabi na pag wala ang Secretary General, hindi kami tatanggap ng complaint kasi wala siya. Ano tingin niyo sa amin? Hindi namin alam yung procedure. Yun yung nakakainis
Yeah,
That is a violation of constitutional provisions, actually.
Yeah, okay. We're about to wrap up, but I want one more question with you. Kasi nga, you're saying ginagawang tanga ang Pilipino. But I think it's something more sinister, something more serious. Kasi
Yeah.
they know, we know that they're lying, diba? We know that they're abusing us, diba? We know what they did, no? What that Office of the SecGen did. We know that it's an abuse, it's a violation of the Constitution, and they know that we know that it's a violation of the Constitution, and we know that they know that we know it's a violation of the Constitution. Alam nila lahat yan, and yet, what's more dangerous is that even though all of that exists, no, that knowledge that we know that they're lying and they know that we know that they're lying, they continue. So in other words, what I'm hearing, it's a different kind of subjugation. What they're saying is, we're the ones in power. We don't really care. Hindi kami nahihiya sa inyo. We don't really care about you. We are the ones in power.
They don't even care about the Constitution, Dr. Lorraine. Imagine, they don't care about the Constitution.
They don't care about the Constitution.
They don't. Basta kami ang nasa power, kami ang may control, kami ang gatekeeper. When we say we will accept, we will accept. If we say no, no. And my God, kahit sinong Pilipino, kahit anong political leaning mo, it's glaring na this is not anymore democracy. This is authoritarianism with memos and with calendar ng Secretary General ng House of Representatives. This is a glaring authoritarianism in that sense. Hindi lang siya with tanks and guns. But this is really glaring. So ang tanong ko, ano ang ibig sabihin nito? Ibig sabihin, these people, they even can throw away the Constitution in the trash can precisely because they don't care. If they don't care about the Constitution, glaringly, they don't care about the Filipino people. That's how it is. They just follow the mandate and orchestration kung sino ang nasa taas. Kasi ito may political strategy dito, Doc Lorraine. They don't want the second and the third impeachment, especially the third impeachment. Kasi bakit? Strong kasi yan. So, ang kanilang tactic, tanggapin nila yung una para magkaroon sila ng buffer for BBM na yung one-year ban rule ay ma-apply kahit hindi naman magpa-fly kasi yung first impeachment na tinanggap nila, case against BBM. So it will die. Kahit ano mo, wala, ano lang yan, parang ano yan, sham. It's a sham thing eh. So they are strategizing to protect BBM from any impeachment case within the year. Kasi pag 2027 mo, kampanya na yan eh. Hindi na makakaisip yung mga tao dyan at saka kung sino-sino man na mag-file pa ng impeachment kasi kampanya na yan, 2027 na. May 2028, May ang ano mo, ang national election mo. So ito yung crucial 2026. So they're trying to strategize politically na yung one-year ban rule, makuha nila, protected si BBM, tapos itong second and third impeachment, especially the third impeachment, will not be accepted. Procedurally speaking, hindi pa nga merit eh. Procedure lang eh. Ito yung gate, hindi ka makapasok na nandyan ang constitution mo eh. What does it says about our country? Hindi na tayo nasa demokrasya. Nasa everything is in the hands and caprices of these people in government, especially up there on the top level. So, ito yung totoo, Doc Lorraine eh. Nagbubulahan ba tayo dito? Di ba? I mean, come on, it's glaring. You don't need a political analyst like me to see this through and through. Really, this is everyone in the country. You may have a high level of education or not. If you really see it with your own eyes, open, you will see it for what it is. Really.
Thank you.
That is really the truth of that.
Yeah.
The truth.
Prof, thank you so much. No? I'm sorry we've run out of time. Your parting words to the Filipino
Thank you so much,
people.
Lorraine.
Yeah. Your parting words.
Parting words ko, please naman, tawag nito, wag naman natin hayaan na alam mo, sa mga Pilipino, lagi ang tanong, may pag-asa ba ang Pilipinas? Sometimes, to be very frank, pag may kausap akong mga kababayan natin, sinasabi ko, Diyos ko, ang hirap sagutin ng tanong na yan. Kasi kung ako magiging pragmatic lang, sasabihin ko talaga, pragmatic realistic na wala nang hope sa aspiration. Sasabihin ko parang wala na. Pero hindi eh. I still would like to believe na na may hope ang Pilipinas. Hindi hopeless yung case natin. Only if the Filipino people will be united really to think of and to wish and to act kung ano ang dapat at anong makakabuti para sa Pilipinas. Yun lang. At sana magising na tayo lahat. Sana. Marami naman, Diyos ko. We have 110 or 115 million Filipinos? We are big than these politicians. So I really hope that you focus on what's good for the country and not these politicians are noisy and doesn't even care about us. So yun po ang aking panawagan sa ating mga kababayan. Maraming salamat, Dr. Lorraine.
Maraming salamat, Prof. So, mga kababayan, thank you for coming with us, joining us. Meron akong nabasang libro. Siguro nabasa rin ni Prof Ana yon, Why Nations Fail, no?
Yes.
At ang sabi doon, isa sa mga aspect, isa kong why nations fail is because of yung bad politics. Extractive politics ang tawag na nakikita natin ngayon. Ito yung mga nakaupo sa pwesto ay kinukuha lang nila habang nandyan sila sa pwesto as much as they can. Nagnanakaw sila ng as much as they can, wawasakin nila yung kung sino man at ang buong Pilipinas para mas makakim-kim sila ng pera at ng kapangyarihan kung ano man limang ambisyon nila. Pero yung gusto ko yung sinabi ni Prof. Ana, no? She spoke about pag-asa. Alam niyo ba na si Emilio Aguinaldo, I'm sorry, si Aguinaldo, si Bonifacio, ang code name niya ay May Pag-asa. Yan ang kanyang code name. I found out.
Oh.
Imagine May Pag-asa, yun ang code name niya, no? Koda niya yon. And he was very young, no? That's why I like looking at Kiko Barsaga and Lian Leviste and Harold Respicio. They're very young kids, but they're fiery, no? Talagang, so lagi ako may pag-asa, hindi nawawala. In fact, nakikita ko lahat ito, lalong tumitibay dibdib ko kasi nakikita ko na yung kabulukan nila nandyan at saka lantad na lantad. Yung sinasabi ni Prof. Ana na nag-o-audition sila Hontiveros, kung sino man nagbibida-bida at nagra-ride on dyan sa anti-China sentiment. Nag-o-audition siya kay Uncle Sam. So pinapakita niya. So puno-puno ako ng pag-asa kasi age of information ngayon. Nakikita
Mhm.
natin at yung natutunan ko sa stint ko kay PRRD at hanggang ngayon, biro mo napabagsak natin yung CPP, is that at saka yung kinuwento ni Prof. Ana, no, na yung ang Amerika powerful, siya regime change, pero ang pag-asa ay Pilipino. Tayo.
Yes.
Tayo. At sinabi niya, 115 million, no? Ilan lang ba naman sila? Ilan ba
Oo,
sila? 'Di ba?
oo.
So, in fact, no, sinasabi ng mga ancients, ayaw na ma-figure, ayaw na mga nasa mga corrupt na 'yan na ma-figure out natin na dehamak na mas marami tayo. 'Di ba?
True.
Kung kaya't napakahalaga ng boses natin.
Yes, I would agree.
Si Spokes ngayon, he had to flee the country and so did I. No, I had to flee. Kasi hindi nila kaya yung nagsasalita na tao. Ganyan ka-powerful ang boses natin. Lalo't lalo pag nagkakaisa tayo. So,
That's
lalo't
true.
lalo pag binibigyan tayo ng armas katulad ng binigay ni Professor Ana ngayon, 'di ba? Na hindi yung katulad nila Tariela na kabobohan lang, no? Teleserye yung kila Ontiveros.
Rivero.
Maganda yung binigyan tayo ngayon ni Professor Ana ng matalas na armas at yun yung kaalaman